What's going on, Player Profiler Nation? It's Matty Kiwu, and I'm joined here with my guest, Bradley Stalder. If you haven't checked out our conversation on best ball theory, all of his philosophies, make sure you go check that out now. But we are going to play a little game of deal or no deal. I will be playing the role of Howie Mandel, but I don't have gloves on. I'm not a germaphobe, but that's okay because we're on the computer here. We don't have to get too
socially
crazy.
distanced.
Yeah, we're socially distanced, so it's okay. So I got a whole list of players here, Bradley, and I'm just going to tell you using their current underdog ADP, and you can tell us if you are going to take the deal, so you'll take them at this ADP, or no deal. You are not taking them at this ADP, whether it be because the ADP is a fugazi, you don't like it, it's too early, or you're going in a different direction. And then go ahead and tell the people listening why or why not you're taking these deals. First guy on the list, Bijan Robinson, going at pick 10.
Howie, no deal. No deal. No deal. No deal. Slam the box down. We're going to go no deal for Bijan Robinson at 10. I like the wide receivers in that spot. I think Bijan is a nice floor running back, but I am not seeing a pathway to running back over one overall. I like Tyler Algier was a good running back last year. I think it's going to be Bijan and Tyler Algier, like as a second player. Like I could see it being 18 to 20 carries for Bijan and 8 to 10 carries for Tyler Algier. And yeah,
that's probably not going to make him running back run a one there. So that makes sense. So Bijan at pick 10, no deal.
No deal.
That was the closest sound I could find to a something shutting is a gavel. I don't know. Let's keep it going. Travis Kelce at 6.1. Now you mentioned your tight end strategy on the episode of the game plan. Deal or no deal? Travis Kelce 6.1.
Yeah, we'll take that deal.
Bing, 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 bing.
Let's go.
Taking that deal there. Yeah, I mean, like you said, if you want to reiterate here, for those who haven't seen the game plan episode yet, what's your tight end strategy? Six words.
I'll save the tight end strategy for a little bit, but because there's another tight end on there that I'll mention it.
Okay.
But the reasoning for Kelce is that by this time in the draft, your Cooper Kupps, Tyreek Hills, Jamar Chase, and Justin Jeffersons are off the board. And the differential between Travis Kelce and the next tight end is so massive.
Yeah.
It's just the positional scarcity of elite tight end, even if Travis Kelce falls off. So let's say, relatively speaking, instead of getting a 24% target share, he gets 17%. He's still probably the tight end one. He still probably returned that value of differential. But Tony Gonzalez, when he was 35 years old, because Kelce's going to turn 34 here in a couple months.
Yep.
Tony Gonzalez at 35 years old was still the tight end 6. Like, even if Kelce falls off, it would need a catastrophic injury for Travis Kelce to not return this ADP.
Okay, so we have a deal on Travis Kelce. Next guy, Breece Hall at 30.6 overall.
I'll take that deal as well.
Okay, we're taking that deal. Are you nervous about the Dalvin Cook rumors?
No.
You think that's fugazi and that's not going to happen?
Breece Hall, if he didn't tear his ACL, he would be in conversation as the 1.01 overall this year.
Yes, that's true. I mean, he looked every bit of the superstar stud running back that we dream about, in his earliest part of his rookie campaign. So we're taking that deal. Next guy on the list, DJ Moore, going at pick 47.
I'll also take that deal now.
Woo! Biggest DJ Moore stan in the world, so I'm excited.
I was not buying DJ Moore earlier. So earlier this offseason, he was like wide receiver 20, wide receiver 22. And I said he needs to get down to wide receiver after wide receiver 25. And now he's wide receiver 27.
Yeah, he's creepy. He's getting closer and closer to wide receiver 30.
Wide receiver 26 right now. I think it's flipping, flopping every day. But at this point, I mentioned this. Check out the game plan earlier. One of my favorite double taps is DJ Moore and Justin Fields at the 4-5 turn.
Absolutely. Okay, so we have a deal at DJ Moore when it comes to pick 47, but it did take a little bit of a fall for you to get on board. But, that's what it's about.
ADP, that's what we're talking about.
Yep, absolutely. Current ADPs. Alexander Madison going at 59.3. Deal or no deal, Bradley?
No deal. No deal.
Shut in that case. No deal. Why? No, not. Is it that you don't love Madison, or is there another particular running back that you just have to leave drafts with?
I do love Dwayne McBride. Don't get me wrong. He is my guy. If there is a flag plant guy, it's Dwayne McBride. But Alexander Madison is just a guy. He's just a guy. And
Yeah.
maybe it's that the arguments made that, well, they paid him a decent amount of money. They didn't pay him starter level money. They paid him like high backup money, solid guaranteed money, but to be a pretty significant piece. But he's not efficient. He's not a particularly good running back. We've seen him over the last 2 years, 3.7 and 3.8 yards per carry, respectively.
Mhm.
He's only in small sample sizes exploded. And we've seen this numerous times where in small sample sizes, running backs can handle the load. Large, they can't. I'm not buying Alexander Madison at this point. If we get, plus you mentioned the fear that Breece Hall might get Dalvin cooked. But what if it's, an Ezekiel Elliott ends up landing in Alexander Madison in Minnesota? What? I mean, come on now. They're
right. No,
virtually the same plotters.
Right. And I mean, they are also a team on the verge of trying to win.
Right.
So, we're talking about Fournette, Kareem Hunt,
maybe
Zeke. Any one of those guys could find their way to Minnesota. And if you're going to take a shot on a running back now with this, all this vacuum of touches at the running position, why not go with a guy like Ty Chandler, who's fast, or a guy like Dwayne McBride, who really pops in a lot of those advanced
yards after contact per attempt. Dwayne McBride was number 1 in the class last year.
Right. He pops in a number of underlying metrics that should get you excited. So no deal, Alexander Madison. Next guy, Kyle Pitts at 70.6. Deal or no deal?
No deal. I know. It just hasn't fallen enough. And so this is back to what I mentioned. I promised that I would come back to the tight end rule. 6 words. Kelsey, big value, or screw it. Because Kelsey, big value, or screw it. And at this point, it's not a big value. Kyle Pitts is not a big value. And I want him to fall. I want him to fall past 70. I want to see that. The reality is he has massive talent. He's top, one of the best tight end prospects we've ever seen.
Right. The prospect profile is there, but
it just so happens to be on the worst passing volume offense that exists in the NFL. Yeah. So, and he not only is it the worst, but Drake London also commands a 28% target, 26, 28, whatever percent target. So there is another alpha who is eating from a small pie. In best ball, I can see you taking some value swings on Kyle Pitts, but especially in redraft, Kyle Pitts is an avoid.
Drake London, like you said, damn near 30% target share, about 10.6 points a game. I want to say something around that area. So, yeah, not the guys you want to target.
Seismic shift from the Atlanta Falcons for me to be wrong on
just
Kyle
an
Pitts.
absolute size, right? Which probably isn't coming considering they used the 8th overall pick on a running back and they didn't do anything at the quarterback position. Next guy up is a polarizing one here at Player Profiler, Rachaad White, 83.5. Deal or no deal?
No deal.
Half the company's gonna love it. Half the company's gonna hate it.
Matthew Kelly's probably gonna fire me on the spot here once he watches this.
Matt, go watch the episode of the game plan. It was a great episode. No fire us. So
Rachaad White, Matt got into this with me on the Mind of Mansion.
Yep, he did.
And he brought up, this is a small sample size. I mean, it was a decent enough size sample, for Rachaad White. So I'm betting that the offense for Tampa is bad. I'm betting that Rachaad White actually isn't that good. He's not going to catch the passes that you think he's going to catch in this offense. I mean, Baker Mayfield might be the starter, but it might be Kyle Trask, which would be even worse for Tampa.
Yeah.
They're not going to be in goal line situations. So for an inefficient runner, I mean, I could pull up 100 different stats to give you. I mean, Player Profile, you can check it out yourself. You can look and see Rachaad White was a really inefficient runner.
He really was, yeah.
He had a below 70 PFF receiving grade. He was 24th among all running backs last year in yards per route run. You think that's going to get better with Baker Mayfield? I mean, come on now. So his receiving profile is overrated. His rushing profile is bad. The offensive line, maybe it'll be better, but maybe it'll be worse. And then the goal line work isn't there. I am out on Rachaad White. I think he is a trap. I think he's I want to give you a comp.
Okay.
He's Chase Edmonds from 2022.
Why you gotta do that to me, Bradley? The whole Chase Edmonds, and then the Chase.
But
Edmonds,
it makes sense.
He's on the same team now.
A pass catching,
yeah,
profiled runner who has not historically carried the load, without great draft capital to his name, now steps into a massive workload. Just not there.
Not there. So no deal on Rachaad White. Next guy, Jameson the Gambler Williams at 96.5. So you can get him around pick 100, but is it deal or no deal on Mr. Williams?
Oh, yeah, give me this deal. Maddie, I'm going to pop quiz you now. Do you know what Jameson Williams player profiler comp is?
Off top of my head, I can't say. I'm going to go with Will Fuller.
It is Will Fuller, because he is Will Fuller. He is Will Fuller to a T. He is a skinny, fast, first-round pick pedigree wide receiver who played at a really good team in college, Alabama versus Notre Dame, drafted to a team in a dome, and now is gotten in trouble with the NFL over their rules. This is Will Fuller to a T. And all we need is a mysterious finger injury to derail his career, and then we are all set.
That was going to be my follow-up question. Do we know the status of how strong his fingers are? Does he have fragile fingers?
I tweeted at Elvin Silva, because Evan Silva has connections to the Notre Dame community, and much deeper than my own. And I asked Evan, I was like, what is going on with Will Fuller? And he's like, oh, he's not coming back. I'm like, okay.
Oh, God. So, yeah, right. I mean, it's so mysterious.
Yeah, so I am in, though, on Jameson Williams once he returns. This is a player that they were slowly working back last year. It was clear that the Lions had no intention of playing him as a full-time player. This year, this is the Lions' year. They need to win. This is the year for them to do it. They want Jameson Williams to be successful.
Right.
And we're talking about a dome scenario. We talked about week 17 in the game plan. We talked about week 17. Jameson Williams going at 100 with Will Fuller upside. And you can just double tap Jameson Williams and Jared Goff at about the same time. And you're all set with Jameson Williams, Jared Goff stack. And you can get some Dallas players earlier. You can get your Jahmyr Gibbs earlier if you wanted some correlation. Give me Jameson Williams. The profile is right. The speed is right. The matchup is right in week 17. Give me all of it. He's now more than a full year removed from the ACL injury, so he should be back to game speed. I'm fine with taking shots in best ball at Jameson Williams at 96.5.
And you can get Marvin Jones at the end of the draft and kind of hedge, those earlier weeks, who will have spike weeks. Despite what everyone wants to think, Marvin Jones will have some dusty-ass spike weeks.
Yeah, I talked to Billy about Marvin Jones. So
there may be no bigger Marvin Jones believer going into 2023 than your protege. That's right, I'm calling him your protege, Billy Muzio. Next guy we're going to talk about is another fascinating case, Antonio Gibson. He's going right around pick 100 at 100.1. Deal or no deal?
This was the toughest one on the list. Because I was getting him in the 140s like a month and a half ago. And now it's up to 100.
It's gone up a lot. Yes.
It's gone up a lot. I'm going to say no deal.
Oof, I don't crushing the hearts of many.
I don't feel great about it. But I think it's because we as the fantasy community like Antonio Gibson more than the Washington Commanders do. Certainly. That Brian Robinson is the guy that they want to succeed in this offense. He's gonna get 15 touches every game. That's Brian Robinson, and maybe he gets a few more catches. The J.D. McKissic role, we're assuming, goes to Antonio Gibson. We're assuming that. There's a lot of presumption there. What if Brian Robinson gets 4 targets a game. That saps the upside of Antonio Gibson. And I'm saying no deal for right now. I think partly because of all of the things that I said, and partly because I was getting so much Antonio Gibson in the 130s and 140s.
That was great value, right? And it's tough sometimes when you've locked in on a guy in a certain round. When you see that creep up 2, 3, 4 rounds, you're like, this really screws up kind of the builds I'm trying to put together. So no deal on Antonio Gibson. We're gonna stick right around pick 100. This guy's going at 100.2. Rookie quarterback Anthony Richardson. Deal or no deal on A-Rich?
I'm going to say no deal on this one. I like the quarterback that's going right after him, Dak Prescott. Give me Dak Prescott over Anthony Richardson. I think Richardson's better priced at about quarterback 15 or so. But once again, this is all about value as well. A week before the NFL draft, I was getting 40%, 50% shares of Anthony Richardson at quarterback 24.
Right. What a value. Oh my God, what a value. That's incredible. But now at pick 100, it does change things.
That has shifted significantly. So no deal on Anthony Richardson, given that there are still other quarterbacks in that area that I like.
Next up on the list, Rondell Moore going around 130, 129.9. Deal or no deal?
Yeah, give me Rondell Moore. I'll take that deal. Round 11, Rondell Moore? Heck yeah.
Yeah. And now with no D-Hop, I mean, we there's a little bit of a ceiling there now.
I overlaid Rondell Moore's point distribution last season with Drake London's point distribution last season, and they were nearly the same point distribution curves.
Right.
And you're getting
bad quarterbacks this year.
You're getting Rondell Moore in round 11. Round 11. Now, if you're talking to me about like round 8, round 7, no, I couldn't do that. But round 11, my goodness.
So, right. So if he creeps up to around 100, that'll be that. I don't know about that.
I think 100 is probably the line of demarcation for me.
Perfect. All right. Good thing to know. Next up on the list, definitely go check out the latest episode of Man vs. Machine. Billy Muzio versus Bradley Stalder. They're talking about this guy, Chigoziem Okonkwo. Deal or no deal at 130.1.
Yeah, Chig gets the no deal for this one.
There are going to be a number of people checking out this overtime session, Bradley, and they're going to go, no deal on Rashad White, no deal Antonio Gibson, no deal on Chig Okonkwo. Does this guy even do stuff for Player Profiler?
Is he like in the brand? Like what does Matt Kelly, what does he have over Matt Kelly that he's blackmailing him to let him onto this team that he would
create with Muzio? That's leverage.
Does he hate Roschon Johnson? I mean, come on.
Well, you say this, Bradley,
in a second, but let me tell you a story before we move on to Roschon Johnson. Let me tell you a story. And this is if you checked out Man vs. Machine, I've told the story, but it's still a good story. A couple of years ago, I was big into this tight end. He was top 6 in yards per route run. He was a top 12 receiving grade tight end for PFF. He had the tight end role to himself, the majority of snaps, majority of touches out of the tight end position a couple years ago, and I was all in on this particular player. Granted, it was small sample size tight end, but he had some nice metrics. Late round draft pick, had some interesting measurables. That tight end was Anthony Firkser on the same Tennessee Titans.
Anthony Firkser, yeah. That's a
small sample size tight ends on bad offenses are usually bad bets. Chig Okonkwo had a 14% median target share from the time he relatively broke out on Tennessee last year, and he only eclipsed 50% of snaps 2 times. He was not able to push out Austin Hooper. He was just able to nudge him aside. No. I think that there's a lot more fear of Chig Okonkwo, which maybe I'm making the bull case for Treylon Burks. Maybe that's Maybe that's where I need to like put my chips in on Treylon Burks instead of Chigakonkwo. But this offense is going to be bad. I mean, Tennessee, we know we know all of the facts about the Tennessee offense. I mean, Chris Moore is probably going to be the wide receiver 2 on this team. Maybe it's Westbrook Akine, but that tells you how bad this team is.
It's a very thin room.
Right. But the argument that Billy made was opportunity. Opportunity doesn't matter for a long time if the player isn't good. And I don't know if Chig is actually good.
Ooh, okay. Well, fair. That's what we have you on, because you got to get these insights to the people, because they got to make a lot of decisions here coming up in best ball, dynasty, redraft, doesn't matter. You got to make these decisions. Last guy on the list, though, you teased him. Roschon Johnson, deal or no deal at 150.9.
At that point, I'm taking the deal on Roschon Johnson.
And just like that, he saves his life over here at Player Profiler, being in on Roschon Johnson, baby.
Look, I'm rotating through Roschon Johnson, Khalil Herbert, Donta Foreman. I don't know who's going to be the running back you want in the Chicago Bears offense, but what I do know is that is a valuable position. It's a very, very valuable position. We saw Khalil Herbert last year pull off the running back 1 overall, while David Montgomery played 30% of the snaps in that game.
Right.
Like,
he's been efficient on he doesn't need a whole lot of touches.
I like Khalil Herbert as a prospect, as a player. Like, he has very interesting burst score metrics. Like, I like him, but I'm not convinced that the Bears think that he's the one. They drafted Roschon Johnson, who we liked as a profile, and they signed Donta Foreman, who was pretty good last year in relief of Christian McCaffrey after the trade. Like, he was pretty good. He's not a pass catcher. And Roschon Johnson can play special teams, so he's already going to be on the field for the Bears, even if at the beginning of the season, he's not the guy. I think at the beginning of the season, I have Donta Foreman leading this team in carries projections-wise, but I like taking shots on Roschon Johnson at 150 or thereabouts.
Roschon's pretty good value. Yeah, we're not talking around pick 100 or even pick 125. We're talking about 150. Good shot to take. So making a deal. We're not making deals on Rachaad White. We're not making deals on Gibson or Chigakonkwo, but we are taking the deal on Roschon Johnson.